For quite a long time, I had a lot of difficulty connecting to people. For example, I would meet someone new and there would be an initial spark. You meet someone new, and then there's this uncertainty of getting to know a person, and then there's this excitement. But very soon, this excitement would fizzle out and it would plateau all the way. And for quite a long time, I thought that this was the fault of everybody else, that they were not smart enough, they were not exciting enough to engage me in conversation and in sharing different ideas. But then, you know, the thing is, if you feel that everybody around you is acting the same way, it's probably yourself that is the problem. And I came to realize this problem in myself after I read one book by Brené Brown called Daring Greatly. And in that book, she talks at length about what is courage and how does courage relate to vulnerability. And ever since I applied that in my life, I've noticed that at least now I can make interactions more exciting and more deep in a way. So I just wanted to share about a few thoughts that I have on vulnerability and how I apply that in my life, and a few thoughts on what vulnerability is not. So, for example, you meet someone and you meet them for the first time, and the person is late. The person is late maybe 5 minutes or 6 minutes. And you come and you sit down, and the other person doesn't say anything about being late or being apologize for that. And that thing bothers you inside, and if you don't say it, then it will close off the interaction that is going to happen between you and the other person. So saying something that might be a little bit offensive to the other person, even though it might be true according to you, you have to say it. You have to call out the things that you don't believe are okay, something that you will not do yourself. So if somebody is late, then you can be very courteous, and you can be very polite and just say to them, okay, is there anything? Why were you late? Is everything all right? And just say it out loud. So being vulnerable is being truthful in your speech, knowing that the outcome might be not in your favor. Being truthful, especially not knowing the outcome. So one other thing that about vulnerability that at least I realized for myself is that our face, our eyes, and our whole being is actually telling the other person, and telling the unconscious part of the other person what we're thinking and feeling all the time. So, for example, I had this feeling, and this what do you call this sense for a very long time. If I'm talking to someone and somebody says that something very different or very intriguing, then my facial expressions happen faster than I can thoroughly process them and act on them. So what I mean to say is that our bodies are already communicating the other person what we are actually feeling, and if we are not truthful about that, then that creates a certain kind of division between you and the other person, because the other person thinks that that person is not being open and honest and truthful about themselves. And it only takes one thing for the other person to feel that, if you're not being truthful. Because um, especially in earlier interactions, if a person thinks even for a moment that you're hiding something or you're not being truthful, then that closes the interaction. And that is actually the feeling where you feel that, okay, I'm not being um, the the interaction is not going good, the other person is really boring. Whenever you feel that, especially now, whenever I feel that the interaction is plateauing, that it is not being exciting, then ask yourself, what is it that I am supposed to say right now that I am not saying? And once you ask that question, and once you let out what is inside, what are the thought that is bothering you at that time, then the interaction will become more meaningful and engaging, and you will feel a connection, a spark going through between you and the other person. So I know that this is very different, and I know this this might seem very abstract, but the key takeaway here is that whenever you're interacting with another person and it doesn't seem exciting and it seems boring, it seems um, cold or unengaging, then ask yourself the simple question: what is it that I want to say that I am not saying right now? What is it that I should tell the other person, or I should tell to myself, that I am holding it back right now? Once you ask that question, the answer will come to you, and then once you say it, then interaction will become more smooth and effortless. Because think of it like this: like, we human beings have like, think of our bodies like a network of pipelines, and if we are holding apart, if we are creating block in one area of our being, if there is a thought that needs to be manifested in the world and we are holding it back, then all our energy is being consumed there, and it will show in our faces that we are not at there, because part of my energy is just blocking the thought of saying that thing right now. So to summarize and to put it very succinctly, is two things. First, whenever you meet someone new, or someone you already know, or a friend, then ask yourself if the interaction goes very not very if the interaction is not going exciting and it's becoming boring, then ask yourself, what is it that I want to share? What is it that I want to open up about that I'm not opening right now? And the second key takeaway here is that if you find everybody around you, or everyone you meet, or most of the people that you meet, if you find them boring or not exciting or not smart or intelligent enough, then there is definitely something wrong that you are not getting attention to. It's your fault. Every interaction that you're in, it's your job to find something exciting in the other person. It's not the other person's job to steer the interaction, especially and specifically for men, because we are supposed to be the leaders. We should guide the interaction. We should steer the meeting and the interaction as best as we can. So I really hope this helps. Thank you.